short, be light. So I just want to thank everybody for coming out to the show. Some of you probably know, some of you don't know. This is Goose Creek Players' first production. This is our third showing. Thank you so much for being a part of this inaugural event. Hopefully someday, years from now, you'll look back and say, I was there when they did Miracle on 34th Street. I do want to give some special thanks to the Mathews family that allows charitable groups and organizations to use this facility. So they may or may not be here, but I'll give them a big round of applause anyway. Very kind. A portion of some of our proceeds are actually going to Goose Creek Players to help us to continue on, but a portion of it is actually going to a charitable organization, Hero Homes. You can read more about Hero Homes online. The website is on the slideshow, but they're a wonderful group. They actually help veterans who have gotten out of the service and just hard up, and they build houses for them. And it's just a very nice organization to help them out. I just want to let you know a couple of quick things you may not know about the theater. So there are 2 restrooms on this side, over here. So at intermissions, there are 2 in this hallway. And there are 2, they're not outhouses, they are 2 fully functional restrooms right outside the front door. They're hot water, paved, tile and everything in there. So don't think you're going out to the outhouse. It's actually, they're very nice facilities. Just you just have to walk over there to get to them. So that'll help alleviate the wait in line. Concessions is wonderful. Please help yourself to the concessions during the intermission and after the show. And in case some of you didn't get it or didn't realize it, we actually are offering Santa Claus photo opportunity. So kids, if you want, it's a free service. Our photographer actually happens to be here tonight, Angela Wade. So big round of applause to her too. Those were her pictures that she took. So she'll be providing a free service. You fill out a form. She takes pictures of you and your kids sitting in Santa's lap, and you can get them later from her. So that was very, very nice of her. And so now I will turn it over to the cast, because that's what you're here to see, not me, the director. It's the sad thing about directors. Once the show starts, they silently fade into the background.
On behalf of the cast and crew, we do want to thank you for coming out this afternoon. We are excited and thrilled that you would spend your afternoon with us. Now you all know that Santa Claus has a list, right? A naughty list and a nice list. Well, there's some way you can get some brownie points or not today. There's a naughty list and a nice list he's keeping track of backstage. Let me tell you some things that'll get you on the naughty list, and you don't want that with Christmas coming up. The first thing is deals with your phones. Please turn your phones off. Please don't play games, no texting, no messaging, don't need to check Facebook or anything like that. Don't do that, that'll get you on the naughty list. The second thing is no flash photography, okay? That messes us up on stage, but it's also will put you on the naughty list real fast, so please don't do that. And Santa, he's pretty good. You think it's dark out there, but he can tell who's out here, he can tell who's here, and he'll make a note of that as well. Thirdly, the naughty list is, we do hope that you go to a concession stand during intermission. It's probably the best concession stand you'll find anywhere in Northern Virginia for theater, okay? So please stop by and buy some treats, but you cannot bring food or drinks into the theater. You bring some water, that's okay, but no food or drinks and other drinks in the auditorium. Please note also the exits are there, and for your information, Act 1 is 90 minutes long, followed by a 15-minute intermission. Then Act 2 is 45 minutes long. And as Mike mentioned, Santa will be here after the show to take pictures, and hope that you all will be able to enjoy that time as well. So without any further ado, Miracle on 34th Street.
so glad you suggested we come down and watch.
Yes, it's a beautiful day to begin the season.
Do you want to sit down to watch the long parade?
No, I think I'll stand, or maybe I'll go sit with those children over there.
Well, that's the best place to watch from. You know, it ain't a New York Christmas without Macy's parade. And these children love it.
I think I saw a six-pack over on 32nd Street. You might want to go check it out.
Oh, thanks. I'll get it after the parade.
My dear woman, why do you fish through garbage? Oh, that's revolting.
Because I find wonderful things in here. Do you know I can get money for this bottle? And every little bit helps. I'm doing my Christmas shopping.
Christmas shopping?
Yes. You would be surprised at the treasures that people throw away.
Huh. I don't have time for that. I send my assistant out to get my Christmas presents. I don't want to spend time plowing through the crowds at Christmas. Oh.
Well, you should be bothered a little. Do you know, my shopping costs a lot less than yours, and it's appreciated just as much. You know, it's the time and thought that you put into it that show your family your love for them. It doesn't matter how you do your Christmas shopping.
I love your spirit. The real Christmas spirit is a real joy.
Well, you know that the department stores make the big bucks at Christmas time. It's how they make up for their losses they have all year.
Christmas is more than big bucks, Doctor. Christmas is the time of year that we devote to pursuing those things we stubbornly avoid the rest of the year. Peace, goodwill, and helping others. What do you want for Christmas, Doctor?
I don't even think Santa Claus can get me what I want.
Try me.
All right, well then, the Maplewood facility needs a new x-ray machine. It could be helpful in so many situations, but it's very expensive.
You shall have it.
Chris, if I get that x-ray machine, I'll know you're really Santa Claus.
It'll be in your stocking on Christmas morning.
Chris, I know we've never spoken about your having to leave Maplewood, but I tried so hard and fought for you, but the board overruled me. They just won't let anyone stay whom they've determined is mentally unsound.
But I passed all those tests, didn't I?
I know you did, and I fought for you. But I just couldn't justify what they consider to be paranoid thinking, even though you're not harmful to yourself or others, to use the psychiatric jargon.
Because I'm Santa Claus.
Because you say you're Santa Claus.
But it happens to be true.
But the board doesn't believe in Santa Claus, so you're out.
What happens next?
Maplewood has an arrangement with the Mount Hope Sanitarium.
Oh, the old rubber room.
No, you know, for a public facility, Mount Hope is really quite comfortable and charming. There's TV and entertainment and lots of... Chris, do you have any money?
Yeah, let's see, I have $53.
That's not going to get you very far. And you're not a young man. It won't be easy for you to make a living. If you can't support yourself, you'll end up awarded the state and end up at Mount Hope anyway. Why not just avoid the whole disagreeable experience of having to live on the streets?
But there's nothing wrong with me. I'll be hanged if I go to the funny farm.
What choice do you have?
Well, the Central Park zookeeper is a friend of mine. I'll go stay with him. At least he doesn't doubt, the reindeer don't doubt my sanity.
Oh, Chris, please.
Well, Doris, after 5 years, I think we finally have this parade business working out pretty well. Don't you think?
Just as long as Miss Macy's happy.
I think the burning float is better this year, Mother.
Yes, Susan. We fixed its eyes so they float. That makes them look more alive.
You watch your mother, Susan. Soon you'll be able to handle this parade by the time you're 10.
Would you believe 8?
Merry Christmas!
Allow me. Just a crack of the wrist.
Never works unless you oil it a little bit.
You should be ashamed of yourself. And in front of the children. You're a disgrace to the uniform. Where's your Christmas spirit?
Here.
Oh.
God, keep warm. Warm.
Okay, so there's our Santa over there, Doris.
Oh my goodness. What are we gonna do now?
How did we manage to get him? Shelly, see if you can get him in the sleigh.
How?
I don't know, get someone to help you shove him and tie him in if you have to.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Mother, I don't think people are gonna like a Santa who's asleep.
He's not his usual twinkling self, that's for sure.
Santa, please wake up. That's not really Santa. He works for my mother at Mathews. If you want to see Santa, they're ringing bells on every street corner. Those aren't real Santas. We want to see Santa himself. I suppose you believe in Easter bunnies too.
Chris, this looks like this could be the good golden opportunity for you to solve both your problems. They appear to need a replacement on the sleigh, and you could share your Christmas spirit and pay the rent all at the same time.
They haven't asked me.
You need to ask them. How can you stand to look at this? These children will be so disappointed if there is no Santa Claus.
Doctor, is that a real Christmas spirit I see, or are you pretending for my sake?
No, I was just thinking about what you said, giving and sharing. Whether or not you're the real Santa Claus, these children could certainly believe that you are.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Pardon me, may I be of assistance?
I don't believe it. It's actually Santa Claus.
My pleasure,
Really?
ma'am.
It's a gift from Santa Claus, of course. Sir, you see what our problem is here. Would you mind stepping in and playing Santa for us in our parade?
Well, I'm not accustomed to substituting for intoxicated imposters, but the role does fit me perfectly. Which way to the dressing room?
Shelley, get this gentleman suited up for a sleigh.
You bet. Right this way, sir. Oh, and I'll get rid of this.
Hello, Doris.
Oh, hi, Fred. Susan's over talking with the elves. Could you get her and take her somewhere? With all the stuff I've got going on today, I don't have time for the crazy ideas they're going to put in her head.
Don't worry, I overheard the conversation. They were just talking about the North Pole.
Yeah, North Pole. North Pole? That's just what I'm talking about, Fred. Look, I'm glad that the two of you get along so well, Mr. Gailey. And I appreciate all of your help. But we've been neighbors long enough for you to know I have definite ideas about keeping her mind free from illusions. I've told you before, I will not have her believing in fairy tales, Mr. Gailey.
And why not, Mrs. Walker?
All right, Fred. Sorry to be so irritable. But I feel it's important for her to understand reality. As a lawyer, I should think you would support that.
I didn't know you were raising a 7-year-old lawyer.
She's gonna grow up expecting Prince Charming to come along and you and I both know happily ever after doesn't exist.
Are we talking about Susan or about you? Look, Doris, I'm sorry. I know your divorce was painful, but you can't stay bitter about it forever, and not all men will let a woman down. I don't want Susan growing up to think this.
I was devastated, Fred. Thank you for your help, but please, let me be Susan's parent.
Mom, the elves are better this year. Their costumes actually fit.
Don't worry, nothing will make this kid's mind up for it.
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws. Out jumps good old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys. All for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Oh, up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. First comes the stocking of little Nell. Oh, dear Santa, fill it well. Give her a dolly that laughs and cries, one that will open and shut her eyes. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Oh, up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Next comes the stocking of little Will. Oh, just see what a glorious fill. Here is a hammer and lots of and it's my responsibility to train the new members of Mason's family of employees.
what toys we want you to push, Mr.
Chris Kringle.
Oh, really? That's really clever.
It's been the family for generations.
Okay. Now, we are overstocked on these toys over here, so if a child wants something we don't have, you should say, now you may not like this, how would you like this doll over here? Understand?
Why not give the children what they want?
Because it's Christmas. People buy just about anything for their kids when it's Christmas. Besides, you can change kids' minds because they think you're really Santa Claus. So it's a good way to clear out our surplus inventory.
So it's the old economic spirit, eh?
Yes, and a Santa that helps move merchandise gets a little something extra in his Christmas stocking. Now, we mustn't keep the shoppers, the children, waiting.
Hello, Sharon.
How do you know my name?
Because I'm Santa Claus. What would you like for Christmas?
I'm pink bike ribbon on my handlebars.
Well, you've been a very good girl, and I think that can be arranged.
Thanks a lot, Santa. Do I look like I'm made of money? She asked if there's something else she'd like. Your store wants $125 for a bike like that. I checked.
Can you afford $55.95?
Well, sure.
Consumers Outlet over on 30th Street.
I can't believe it. Macy's Santa Claus sending me to another store.
It doesn't matter whether it's Macy's or Consumers. The important thing is to make the children happy.
This is wonderful. That's really good of you.
Hello, little girl. What would you like for Christmas?
I want a real beauty powder set. The kind with the shiny red lipstick and the glittery eyeshadow. And I promise not to test her on the cat.
What you said about the Barbie car last year.
But I really promise this time.
Okay, I accept your promise. But remember now,
Why did you tell her that? I looked all over town and everyone is sold out.
Bloomingdale's just got a new shipment in. Fourth floor, second aisle from the right. $18.50. A marvelous bargain.
Thank you for shopping at Macy's.
Well, to tell you the truth, we're on our way over to Bloomingdale's. Your Santa recommended it. Oh, and wouldn't you know, it's just such the Christmas spirit. He told me exactly where I could get what my little girl wants.
Oh. What will Miss Macy think about that?
Santa Claus! This child has only recently arrived from the orphanage in Holland. She doesn't speak English yet, but she wants to see you badly. She insists that Santa Claus can speak Dutch. I hope you can sing with her. Santa Claus, ik wil een pap. Ik wil een bezoek van Goedmoeder. Ik mis de bezang van het vaderland. I'm sorry, I can't translate for you. I don't speak Dutch well enough. I think she wants...
A doll and a visit with her grandmother in Holland. No problem. It en out ik van Grootmoeder.
Ja, ja!
Guten King winkelessen on a bakfest van Steven. Op de snoei lag witten, die en was en even. How are you?
Mad.
Tell me about it.
Me and my sister got into a fight. She told me the phone would grow into my ear if I didn't get off of it.
Kids like to tease each other. Next time someone teases you, they're probably unhappy. You'll see. It'll get better. Now, what do you want for Christmas?
Telephone.
It's gonna get better right away.
All right, Susan, it's your turn.
Do I have to?
Try it out anyways, for the sake of Macy's.
You know, of course, that this is ridiculous.
Why don't you believe in Santa, Susan?
How do you know that?
I know a lot of things. What would you like for Christmas?
Nothing. Whatever I want, my mother will get me, provided it isn't too expensive. I know you're just a person my mother hired for Santa Claus, but I must admit, you're a little better than most. I can't even see the stuff sitting on your beard. It looks real.
Well, it is real, and I'm real too.
Well, it was nice talking to you anyways, but I don't think you ought to pretend to all these children and you and bring them what they want.
Well, maybe they will get what they want, and maybe you will too.
I'm sorry, she's a tough sell. Thanks for trying anyways.
My pleasure, and thank you for bringing her to me. I do enjoy working on the tough cases.
It's so sad to see so much cynicism in a little girl like Susan.
What she needs is an infusion of imagination. And you and I can work on it together.
Mother, something funny happened. There was a Dutch girl of mine who couldn't speak English, and the Santa spoke to her in Dutch. They sang a song together.
Susan, lots of people speak foreign languages. I speak French, but that doesn't make me Joan of Arc. He's just a man I hired this morning. And even if Santa Claus were real, I doubt he'd be working at Macy's. Now you stand right there while I speak to Fred a minute. Fred, can you step this way, please? I received Santa's employment record this morning. Perhaps you'd like to read it?
Name, Chris Kringle. Age, as young as my tongue, but a bit older than my teeth. Birthplace, North Pole. Next of kin, Donner, Dancer, Prancer, Dasher, Blitzen, Comet.
Does that convince you? I think you better take Susan home now if you don't mind. Apparently, I have a job to do.
He just seems like a little nice old man to me. All right, I stand corrected. Come on, Susan, your mother has Christmas to manage.
Doris? This new Santa is completely unacceptable. He's refusing to push our backlog merchandise, and you're not gonna believe this. He's sending our customers to other stores to buy toys. I'm not kidding. You have to do something.
What a coincidence. I was on my way to do just that. Mr. Kringle, we've had a busy day, haven't we? Was it difficult for you?
Well, getting accustomed to new surroundings is sometimes difficult, but I have enjoyed the children.
Ah, well, perhaps you've been trying a little too hard.
What do you mean, Mrs. Walker?
It seems you haven't been following Michelle Hammer's instructions.
Oh, you mean about the surplus toys? Yeah. I decided not to do that.
Oh, you did!
Yes, it's dishonest. Why should children pay for Macy's mistakes?
That's not your decision to make. Speaking of dishonesty, how do you explain the information on this form?
It's not dishonest.
But the information you put on this form, Mr. Kringle, we're not playing games at Macy's. We take our job seriously. If you want a paycheck, you have to put proper information on your personnel card.
Well, see, it happens to be true. I signed it right down here on the bottom.
So you actually think you're Santa Claus?
Certainly not.
Well, that's a relief.
I know it for a fact.
You are welcome to whatever delusions you choose to live with. But we can't have a Santa Claus who refers our customers to other stores. You can pick up your final paycheck at the personnel department. I'm sorry it didn't work out.
I find it ironic, Mrs. Walker, that you're firing Santa Claus for being Santa Claus. I was just trying to give the children what they want.
Macy's is a business, Mr. Kringle. We have to compete with other stores. All right, I don't want to argue with you. I'll authorize a week's severance pay for you. Now, thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker, and I promise you, I won't hold this against you on Christmas Eve.
Doris, Miss Macy would like to...
I'm perfectly capable of speaking for myself, Michelle Hammer.
Is there a problem, Miss Macy?
I will listen with great interest as you tell me who is responsible for Santa sending customers to other stores.
I take full responsibility, Miss
I
Macy.
instructed him to push the backlog merchandise, but he
Well,
would...
then, who told him to send somebody to Bloomingdale's for something we didn't have?
We don't know, ma'am.
Do you know my office has been flooded with phone calls, faxes,
I'm
and letters?
so sorry, but I've taken care of it.
All grateful appreciation from the shoppers. This is the greatest goodwill gimmick in years. Positively revolutionary. I can see the headlines now. Store with real Christmas spirit, Macy's Santa recommends Bloomingdale's. It is a breakthrough in advertising initiatives. This one. The media will love it, and Macy's will reap harvest of publicity and good news.
I'm so glad you're pleased.
The greatest sale we ever had. And you know what? There'll be some bonuses in those stocking reserves.
It must not be Tuesday after all. I'm still asleep and dreaming.
It's Armageddon.
Huh?
I just fired him.
You what?
He's crazy. You should see his personnel form. He actually thinks he's Santa Claus.
Evidently, so does Miss Macy.
I don't know what we're gonna do now.
Do you think she's gonna fire us?
Maybe it's not too late. Sylvia, have the operator page Chris Kringle.
Chris Kringle to the toy department, Chris Kringle to the toy department.
Miss Walker, where's Santa? The one that's stretching all the way to the ladies'
We're
sportswear.
almost out of candy canes.
She fired him.
She fired him in the middle of the Christmas rush? What about the children?
Mrs. Walker, as a sharp steward of Elves Local Number 10, I must lodge a formal grievance against management's capricious disrespect of Christmas spirit.
All right, we're trying to resolve the matter now.
Santa Claus goes, we walk.
Oh, good grief. All I need is striking elves.
No reason to page me, Mrs. Walker. I would have brought the suit back.
Put it back on.
It seems I owe you an apology, Mr. Kringle. Perhaps I was a bit hasty.
Oh?
It seems I was wrong about your policy of sending customers to other stores. As a matter of fact, Miss Macy likes it.
That's not reason enough, Mrs. Walker. Why should I come back to increase Macy's profits? Pushing toys is not what Christmas is all about. We're so busy trying to make things faster and shinier that we lose the spirit of giving from our heart. I see no reason why I should contribute to that kind of commercialism.
So, you won't come back?
The union stands solidly behind you, Mr. Kringle.
Here we are in the middle of the Christmas rush, and I lose the one Santa that works the miracle, all because I didn't understand how miracles work. It's really more than a matter of profit, Mr. Kringle. Can't you see that Macy's needs you? That I need you? And the children. Please?
Not to mention saving 2 wage slaves from being fired.
Well,
What if we promise not to make you push the backstop? Just be the Santa you want to be. Just be yourself.
that I can do.
Yes!
A masterful stroke, Mrs. Walker. Right this way.
You wanted to see me, Mrs. Walker?
Oh, yes, Miss Sawyer. As our vocational guidance counselor, I have a particular situation I was hoping we could help with. You see, we have a wonderful new Santa Claus in the toy department this year.
That's very admirable, Mrs. Walker.
Not exactly. You see, this man is practically perfect in every way, even the natural white beard. Only, he actually thinks he's Santa Claus.
Interesting.
I was hoping you could help the old fella out a bit.
Oh, so you mean he maintains his character persona outside of the work environment? Oh dear, sounds like a classic case out of the abnormal psychology textbook. What other symptoms does he have?
None that I know of.
Oh, a persistent delusion. Very bad sign, very bad. Cases like this happen because their emotional needs are not fulfilled in childhood. So the subject grows up and personifies affection and gift giving. What is the subject's name?
Chris Kringle?
You've got to be kidding me.
I wish that I were, but please don't alarm him. He's a very valuable employee right now.
So what do you want me to do?
Just stop by and observe him. Maybe arrange an interview, but keep it casual.
Leave it to me, Mrs. Walker. He'll never suspect that I suspect.
Hi there. How are you doing today? See something you like? Lots of new toys in here. Excuse me. Hang on. Where are you going? You gotta pick that up.
Oh, hi, you like the puzzle? Nice puzzle, isn't it?
Boring.
Hey.
Are you Mrs. Walker?
Yes, may I help you?
Dr. Pierce, resident physician at the neighborhood home where Chris Kringle used to live.
Oh, really? I think I'd like to talk to you.
I heard that you hired Chris as Macy's Santa this year. I want to thank you for giving him a chance.
Who is he really, Dr. Pierce?
That's a really good question. One that I've been thinking about for a while. Chris insists that he's the real Kris Kringle, and if there really is a Santa Claus, he certainly fits the part.
You don't actually think that he's Santa Claus, do you?
No, I didn't say that. I just meant from a purely philosophical point of view, he could be Santa Claus.
Well, do you think he's Santa Claus? Philosophically speaking, of course.
That's like one of those ideas that goes around and around in your head. Like, is snow white? Or is red red? Or when a tree falls in the forest, does it really make a sound?
Of course it does.
But does it? When you're standing there, the sound bounces off your eardrums, but if there are no eardrums in the vicinity, could it still make a sound?
I've heard that argument before, but it can never be proven.
Or disproven. People all over the world believed in Santa Claus, otherwise he might not exist. Truth of the matter is, kids believe in them all over, right? And Chris, he believes that he's Santa Claus.
He surely does.
I think if it's a case of, I think, therefore I am.
You're still speaking philosophically, I assume?
It's so much easier when you think philosophically and when you spend more time in the world, it's just better off. It's easier to understand things that way.
Unfortunately, we in the retail business have to think realistically.
I understand, but Chris is positively harmless. There are cases like his all over the United States, thousands of them with similar delusions, and they just,
I'm glad you said delusions.
as I said, I've known Chris for years, and he's perfectly harmless. His delusions are a positive one. He just wants to share happiness and the real spirit of Christmas with everyone. I just worry about him sometimes.
Why?
Chris is an old man, and I can't stand the thought of him walking the streets of New York alone late at night with no home to come home to. I mean, if someone could keep an eye on him after the store closes.
You mean he doesn't have a place to live?
He can't stay at Maplewood anymore. They've discharged him.
I'll see what I can do, Dr. Gibbs. I appreciate your insights. I feel a lot more at ease after this conversation.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. I know you won't regret having Chris on your staff. And have a Merry Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one horse open sleigh. Down the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, and making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride in one oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
What are you doing?
Singing.
Get back to work.
That's Christmas spirit.
Mr. Kringle, is it?
That's one of the names on call.
Alberta Sawyer, Macy's vocational guidance counselor.
How did you?
That remains to be seen. Before the customers get here, Mr. Kringle, I'd like to get to know you better. As a new employee, store policy insists that I ask you some questions. How are you enjoying your work here so far?
Well, I'd hardly call it work. I do this kind of thing for free normally.
So you mean you promise gifts to children at Christmas time?
I do my best.
Oh, precisely how do you plan on fulfilling those gifts, Mr. Kringle?
Santa Claus has a lot of influence.
Huh, I see. And I suppose you fly back to the North Pole at night and manufacture those gifts yourself?
Actually, I live with my reindeer.
Excuse me?
I take care of the reindeer at Central Park Zoo.
Well, all right, let's move on. Let me tell you, what's 3 times 5, Mr. Kringle?
Don't you know?
I want you to tell me.
Well, it's 15, of course.
Nice, good, thank you. Stand up, I want you to touch.
Touch my nose with alternating fingers like this. I know this one too. Any others I missed?
Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington. And do you know who the first vice president under Grover Cleveland was?
I don't have any idea, Mr. Kringle. I'm the one conducting this interview, if you don't mind now. Are you married?
Is that a proposal?
How many fingers am I holding up?
3. My, you bite your nails. Do these interviews make you nervous, Miss Sawyer?
That's none of your business, Noah. What's 3 times 5?
15, the same as what you asked me last time. Do you know unconscious repetition is a sign of overwork and stress? Are you getting enough rest, Miss Sawyer?
That'll be all, Mr. Kringle.
I can talk to Miss Macy about getting you a 2-week vacation. Let me see what I can do.
That man definitely has a persistent psychosis, persistent delusions for sure.
Who?
That Santa, that Kris Kringle.
Oh, Sawyer. His doctor was here, and she assured me that he's perfectly harmless.
Perfectly harmless. Cases like this become violent when their delusions are challenged. I assure you that if you allow that man to stay on this staff, I will take no responsibility for the consequences.
That's all right. I'll take full responsibility, Miss Sawyer.
Well, as Macy's psychologist, I should think my opinion would be respected. I warn you, Mrs. Walker, if he becomes violent and he hurts anyone, oh, I'll be the first to tell you, I told you so.
Good heavens, what was that all about?
Sawyer conducted a psychological evaluation of our Santa Claus, and apparently she didn't get anywhere. Her opinion is that Kris could become violent.
Oh. That would be a disaster.
But I also had an interview with Dr. Pierce from Maplewood Home, where Kris used to live, and she assured me that Kris is perfectly harmless, that his delusion is a positive one.
Oh. Do you believe the doctor?
Well, she's known Kris a long time. Sawyer only talked to him for 10 minutes.
Why did the doctor seek you out?
She seems rather protective of Kris. She's glad that he's got a job working as Santa Claus, but she's worried about him after the store closes. She wants me to keep an eye on him.
Oh, I think that's a splendid idea. And you're just the person to do it.
No. Wait. No, wait. What are you suggesting? Not me. My hands are full with Susan, and at night, I need to unwind.
Well, maybe I can help out. You have a spare room Christmas Day with us.
You were Jewel, Shelley. I was hoping I could count on you.
Not so fast. I have to talk it over with my husband first. It's his house too. I'll tell you what. You have Kris over for dinner tonight, and that'll give me enough time to convince Arthur that as part of our Christmas spirit, we'll have this nice old man as a temporary house guest. I'll just leave out the fact that he thinks he's Santa Claus.
What'll Arthur say when he's introduced to Kris Kringle?
Oh. I'll have to think of a way around that one.
All right, Shelley. I'll talk to you later.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw him, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him, as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
I enjoyed our dinner very much. Thank you for inviting me. The milk and cookies was an especially nice touch. And I enjoyed visiting with you and Susan.
Mr. Kringle, could you speak to me in the language you spoke in the store the other day?
Susan, I think Mr. Kringle is tired.
Oh, I'd love to talk to Susan. Here.
Excuse me, I have to call Michelle Hammer.
Do you have a lot of friends in the building, Susan?
Yes, but I don't see them very much. They games they play are so childish. Today they're being animals, and they asked me what kind of animal I want to be. But I don't want to be an animal. It's so dumb.
Why don't you tell them you want to be a lion or a bear?
Because I know the line, I'm a girl.
Well, they're not animals either. They're pretending.
That's what makes the game so good.
Susan, do you know what imagination is?
That's when you see things that aren't really there.
Well, it's more than that. Imagination is a place you can go to. It's a wonderful country. You know nations like England, Japan, and Russia? Well, imagination is a lot like that, but the wonderful thing is, in that country, you can do anything you want.
Not anything.
For example, how would you like to go to Mars in the morning and be back by dinner time?
Oh, that would be possible.
Or be the Statue of Liberty in the morning and fly with a flock of geese in the afternoon? It's simple. You want to give it a try?
Well, I guess I could try.
Okay, let's start with something easy. Let's pretend you're a bird flying in the sky.
I wouldn't know how to do that.
Sure you would. Stand up. Now, flap your arms like they're wings. Tilt, and tilt sideways while keep flapping your wings. There you go. Now you're soaring like a bird.
I did it, Mr. Kringle. That was fun.
So Susan, if you were to believe that I was Santa, what would you want for me to bring you for Christmas?
Can you bring big presents?
Well, since this is the land of imagination, it could be any size.
I want a real house for Mother and me, and a real farm to live in.
Oh, that's a very tall order indeed.
Well, if you're really Santa, you can do it. But if you can't, then you're just a nice man with a white beard. Like
Susan,
Mother said.
Susan, not every child gets their wish. That doesn't mean there's not a Santa. Some children ask for things they can't have, like a real locomotive. Or little girls ask for baby brothers and sisters when they know their parents can't take care of them properly. Sometimes you need to learn something, like how to love or how to behave well before Santa can grant your wish.
But I wished for a father in a house for such a long time, Mr. Kringle.
And the more you wish for it, the more it will mean to you when it comes true. If everyone got his or her wish right away, life wouldn't be half as fun. So you see, Susan, there are a lot of reasons why a child's wish can't come true.
But if father in a house is really all I want, not toys.
Hi there, Susie. How's my favorite girl? Oh, I'm Fred Daly. I live in the next apartment.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Daly. I'm Chris Kringle.
Yes, I know.
Susan, it's time for bed. Oh, hi, Fred. Have you two met?
Yes, we just introduced each other.
Mr. Kringle, I think I found a place for you to stay tonight. Oh, I think that's my phone. Please excuse me.
You're looking for a place to stay.
No, I'm staying at the zoo.
I've never met anyone who lived at the zoo before.
The zoo is no place to stay. Why don't you stay with me? I have an extra bed in my apartment and I could use the company.
Well, that's very kind of you, Mr. Daly. Susan, why don't you tell your mother that we've made an arrangement so she doesn't worry about me.
I like the idea of you staying with Fred. He's my friend, and he's right next door.
Good night, Susan. I like the idea very much, Mr. Daly.
Call me Fred, please.
Okay, Fred. I like being able to be close to Susan so I can work on a Christmas gift.
I am really very fond of that little girl.
I can see that, and how about a mother's?
I really like her, but I'm afraid that being neighbors and a babysitter to Susan is as close as she wants me to get.
You ever asked her out?
I've tried, but she won't socialize after her divorce. She just concentrates on Susan and her career. I don't think she believes in love anymore.
It's a very sad story, but it's something that you and I can work on together.
Oh yeah? How do we start?
Just show interest in her. Be aware of her feelings. Above all, you must have faith in her.
I've tried all that. It hasn't worked out so far.
Just trust me. I'll see to it.
Mr. Kringle, I found a place for you to stay tonight. You can stay with Miss Shellhammer. She lives right near the store, so it's easy for you to get to her. You can go right now, and I'll call you a cab. Is that okay?
Well, thank you very much, Miss Gailey. That's very kind of, Miss
Miss Walker.
Walker. It's very kind of you, but I've accepted Mr. Daly's invitation to stay with him.
Mr. Daly.
Yes, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna go ahead and exit and go get my stuff from the zoo, and I'll be back soon.
Wait, let me.
No, that's all right, there's one waiting for me downstairs.
Fred, I should tell you about this. I don't suppose you realize he's been diagnosed with suffering from delusion. His doctor has asked me to keep an eye on him. He should not be left alone.
I think he's quite capable of handling himself, and besides, between you and I, we should be able to keep him out of trouble.
That's not quite all.
Oh?
Santa Claus bit? I don't want Susan influenced. Thought I'd make myself clear.
I understand your concerns, Doris, but I like Chris. Why not try it out for a couple of days, and if it doesn't work out, we'll find him a new place to stay. In the meantime, I'll take responsibility for him. Trust me. Feel?
Okay.
Oh, come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
Can I join in?
Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exultation. Sing, all ye citizens of Bethlehem. Glory to God.
Is everything all right?
Did Chris come back here?
No, isn't he with you?
When he didn't show up, I went by the zoo to look for him. The zookeeper said that he came and got his things and left over an hour ago.
Oh no, something happened.
It's all my fault, and after I told you could trust me,
I don't want to blame you.
I shouldn't have let him go get his things by himself.
The important thing now is to find out if he's all right. Never forgive myself if something happens to her.
I'm surprised. I didn't think you liked Chris.
It's not a matter of like.
I thought this was a sign that his Christmas spirit was getting to you.
No, because it's in New York City, you know?
Come on, Doris. Who's going to mug Santa Claus?
I'm calling the police.
Look, Doris, if he can get here from the North Pole, then New York City shouldn't be a problem for him.
I'm serious, Fred. He must know I'd be worried. If he was all right, he would have called by now. Oh, why, what's the matter, sweetheart?
I had a dream that Mr. Kringle went away and there wasn't any more Christmas.
Susan, you know dreams aren't real.
It was only a dream, Susan. Mr. Kringle will be fine. And we'll never lose Christmas as long as we have each other. Silent night, stormy night, all is calm, all is bright.
I don't know what I would have done without you tonight, Fred. I don't think I've ever shown my appreciation for your friendship or for the way you cared for Susan. Please forgive me for accept.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh, Fred.
Thank you for realizing that I'm right here with you.
Excuse me, should I come back at a more convenient time?
You're back.
Where were you?
I was caroling with some of my friends. I just came to say goodnight.
Well, I'm very relieved.
Then my dream was true. Santa really did go away.
But he came back because your mother cared about it.
Well, that's a nice thought anyway. Everything's all right now, Susan. Come on, I'll tuck you back in bed.
Good night again, Susan.
Did you enjoy my absence?
What do you mean? Doris was crazy with work.
Didn't it make the two of you closer together?
Well, yes.
That's exactly what I hope would happen.
You old fox. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Not at all. Let me make my exit so you can continue to put her worries to rest.
Oh. It's the next apartment on the right. I'm really glad that you're staying with me, Chris. But I must confess, I do have an ulterior motive.
Well,
I'm going to learn the question that has plagued the world for centuries. Does Santa sleep with his whiskers inside or outside the covers?
Always sleep with them out. Cold air makes them grow. Now, I'll find my way, thank you.
To be honest, I'm glad he's staying. I feel better having him sleeping here. I'm glad you're here too.
Me too.
Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Draw the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. What a tale of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Cast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing, rejoice all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la. Deck the halls with bells of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a special Christmas delight, Mathews Elf Theater.
Once upon a mountaintop, 3 trees stood and dreamed what they wanted to become when they grew up. The first little tree looked up to the stars and said,
I want to hold treasure. I want to be covered with gold and filled with precious stones. I'll be the most beautiful treasure chest in the world.
The second little tree looked out at the small stream trickling by on its way to the ocean.
I want to be traveling mighty waters and carrying powerful kings. I'll be the strongest ship in the world.
The third little tree looked down into the valley below, where busy men and women worked in a busy town.
I don't want to leave the mountaintop at all. I want to grow so tall that when people look at me, they'll raise their eyes to heaven and think of God. I'll be the tallest tree in the world.
Years passed, the rain came, the sun shone. The 3 little trees grew tall. One day, 3 woodcutters climbed the mountain. The first woodcutter looked at the first tree and said,
This tree is beautiful. It is perfect for me.
With a swoop of his shining axe, the first tree fell. Then the first tree said,
Now I shall be made into a beautiful chest, and I shall have wonderful treasures.
The second woodcutter looked at the second tree and said,
This tree is strong. It's perfect for me.
With a swoop of his shining axe, then the second tree said,
Now I shall sail mighty waters. I shall be a strong ship for mighty king.
The third little tree felt her heart sink when the last woodcutter looked her way. She stood straight and tall and pointed bravely to heaven, but the woodcutter never even looked up.
Any kind of tree will do for me. With a swoop of his shining axe, the third tree fell. The first tree rejoiced when the woodcutters brought her to the shipyard. The carpenter's shop.
With this tree, I'll make a feed box with animals.
The once beautiful tree was not covered in gold and not filled with treasure.
Oh no, I am coated with sawdust and filled with hay for hungry farm animals.
The second tree smiled when the woodcutters brought her to the shipyard.
Now I shall sail mighty waters. I shall be a strong ship for mighty king.
But no mighty sailing ship was made that day. Instead, the one strong tree was hammered and sawed into a simple boat.
Oh no, I'm just a simple boat. I'm too small and too weak to sail to an ocean or even a river. I can only sail in a little lake.
The third tree was confused when she was cut into strong beams and placed in a lumber yard.
What happened? All I ever wanted was to stand on that top and point to God.
Many, many days and nights passed. The 3 trees nearly forgot their dreams. But one night, golden starlight poured over the first tree, and the young mother placed her newborn baby in the feed box.
I wish I could make a cradle for him.
The mother smiled and squeezed her husband's hand.
This new tree is beautiful.
Oh, I am holding the greatest treasure in the world.
One day, a tired traveler and his friends crowded into the old fishing boat. Once the tired traveler fell asleep, the boat sailed out into the ocean, or the lake. Soon, a thundering and thrashing storm arose. The little tree shuddered.
Oh no, I am a successful boat. I am has the strength to carry so many passengers, safe with food, wind and rain.
The tired man awakened. He stood up, stretched out his hand, and said,
Peace, be still.
The storm stopped as quickly as it had begun.
For I am carrying the King of heaven and earth.
The third tree was confused when her wings were yanked from the forgotten wood pile.
What's happening? Why are these people so angry? What are you doing to this man?
She shuddered when soldiers nailed a man's hands to her.
I feel ugly, harsh, and cruel.
But on Sunday morning, when the sun rose, the earth trembled with the roar beneath her. The third tree said,
Now I know that God's love has changed everything. I feel so strong. From now on, when people look at me, they'll think of God. That's better than being the tallest tree in the world.
The end.
And now, a very special honor, Miss Macy and Mr. Bloomingdale.
Welcome to our store. I'm so happy we can work together in the spirit of Christmas.
Yes, I must admit, at first I was rather jealous of your Goodwill campaign. I thought you were stealing business from us. But then someone reminded me that Goodwill is not the private property of any organization. So, we came up with our own Goodwill gimmick. And I must admit, it's been most profitable for us.
That's right. Goodwill goes a lot further for everybody than competition. How will you stop Portland, Mr. Kringle? This is the man I was telling you about. Mr. Kringle, you have brought a very special spirit to both Macy's and Bloomingdale's this Christmas season. And it seems to have spread to the whole entire New York City as well. Whatever your special gifts are, deserves appreciation and recognition. So in honor of your distinguished service, Macy's would like to consider this token of our esteem and utter gratitude.
Oh, thank you very much. This is very generous. This is going to buy a Christmas gift to somebody that's been very kind to me. It's going to buy an X-ray machine.
A what?
Yes, for the Maplewood home. They say that X-rays are very helpful in some situations.
That might be quite expensive. That check won't.
Let me take care of that. We'll get it for you wholesale.
But we'll get it from that cost.
Well, thank you both very much.
Now, will you folks, and you, Miss Macy, and you, Mr. Kringle, will you come over to Bloomingdale's and take some more pictures in front of my store? And since you brought so much business to Bloomingdale's, there's a special bonus check for you there too. That should cover the cost of that expensive machine.
Fred, I simply don't believe it. I never thought I'd see Miss Macy shake hands with Mr. Bloomingdale. It's surely a miracle.
I don't know how he does it.
Who?
Chris.
Maybe he gathered some stardust while he was sailing through the air on his reindeer and he sprinkled it all over everybody.
Doris, your imagination's just coming to life.
Not really, Fred. I was only kidding.
No, you weren't. Don't be afraid to admit it. In here, I have a presentation of my own.
What is it? Oh, Fred, it's beautiful.
Here, let me. I went to Cartier's to look at necklaces. You know what they did? They sent me over to Tiffany's. And the clerk over at Tiffany's asked if I had seen the collection over at Cartier's.
It's happening all over town. I never dreamed when I saw that jolly bearded man at the parade that he would revolutionize the entire merchandising industry.
Let's celebrate and have dinner tonight.
Oh, Fred, I'd love to. But I can't. I have to work.
Really?
Unfortunately, it's been planned for weeks. Miss Sawyer, our vocational guidance counselor, is giving a lecture to our employees tonight.
Can't you get out of it?
I wish I could. but I have to introduce her.
What's the topic?
This is embarrassing. Please don't mention it to Chris.
Hey, wait! What's this? Exploding the myth of Santa Claus. Open discussion following lecture. Oh dear. We'll have to show this to Mr. Kringle.
And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce Miss Alberta Sawyer.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are here to explore the nature of the Santa Claus myth. By the time this lecture is concluded, I feel confident that you will share my heartfelt convictions about this legend, which has been handed down over the centuries and is an outrageous atrocity, and that it has been detrimental to generation after generation of innocent young persons of both genders. The symbolic figure of Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, or Kris Kringle, whatever we may call him, represents a classic expression of the wishful dreaming of all children. Instead of teaching children that they should do what they want and that these things come for free, they should be taught while they're still in their formative years the value of the work ethic that has made this country great. They must realize that this is a hard and competitive world, and if they are to succeed, they must learn the difference between myth and reality. Mature adults who continue to perpetuate the fable reveal themselves as incomplete and neurotic personalities who have failed to adjust to the stringent demands of our culture. Not only have they damaged their own existence, but they are harming their children's future. A child who does not understand this marked difference between fact and fiction will grow up still clinging to an infantile fantasy and will never be able to face the cruel truths of today's world. Why do we ask this ourselves, you ask?
Don't ask.
To compensate for feelings of guilt. That's why we perpetuate the myth of Santa Claus. Parents who feel guilty because they've neglected their children 364 days of the year and picked this one day to overwhelm the kiddies with gifts are doing it so as to purge their own shameful behavior. And parents and grandparents who swamp the child with talk about Santa and stage this Christmas charade are reenacting their own infantile emotions which they have never outgrown. Therefore, I suspect that the vaunted spirit of giving is nothing more but selfishness in disguise. Far from doing any good in this world, this vicious myth has done more harm than...
Now, just a minute there.
I'm giving this lecture, Mr. Kringle.
I believe an open discussion was to be allowed.
The discussion will take place after the lecture is over.
The lecture's over!
Mrs. Walker, I refuse to continue until this blatant fraud is removed from this stage.
Chris, we have to...
Mrs. Walker, I refuse to listen to this absurd imposter who spouts all this propaganda.
Absurdity?
Fraud am I!
Don't you try to threaten me, Mrs. Walker. I told you he would become violent.
I did no such thing!
Calm down now, Alberta. Chris.
Now look here, Mrs. Walker. Are you going to allow this dangerous maniac to continue to assault your employees?
He's perfectly harmless, Miss Sawyer.
Maybe we should let the police decide that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our meeting for the evening. Thank you so much for coming and have a Merry Christmas.
I'll handle this.
Mrs. Walker, I'm perfectly capable of defending myself against personal attacks.
Chris, please, for my sake.
Okay. All right, I'll see you at the store tomorrow.
No, Chris, can you wait in the hallway and I'll speak to you in a minute.
Society has ways of dealing with your kind. That's what I mean. He's a seriously deranged man. In cases like this, we never know when he may strike.
I hardly think this would really backfire on Mathews. If Bloomingdale's or the press were to find out that our Santa is possibly dangerous, the repercussions could be devastating.
I'm telling you, Mrs. Walker, Chris is a short stick of dynamite with a short fuse. I warned you. Thank goodness I was the victim of his lunacy instead of some poor, defenseless child sitting on his knee.
We have to do something at once.
But he's just a kindly old man. Are you sure he hit you with that cane?
Yes, and he would again. He's obviously entered into some type of personality change and is becoming violent.
But Dr. Pierce assured me that could never happen. She said his delusion is a positive one.
Dr. Pierce is not a psychiatrist.
Neither are you.
Well then, it's your responsibility to see that he's examined by a competent psychiatrist at once.
I agree.
Well, I don't. Chris has been examined many times according to Dr. Pierce.
Then one more time will make a difference. If the psychiatrist finds him competent, then he can resume his job and come right back.
And if he doesn't, you'll know you've done the right thing.
Well,
Now, here's the only problem. How are we going to get him out of here? In his present condition, he's certain to react with violence.
You'll have to talk to him. He trusts you, Doris.
simply can't hurt the old man.
Well, never mind. I won't need you, Mrs. Walker. I know what to do.
What are you going to do?
I'll apologize and invite him out to dinner. And then I'll persuade him to get checked out by a competent psychiatrist tomorrow.
All right, Alberta. Call me later and let me know how you worked it out.
Mr. Kringle, are you still there? Please come back. Oh, I do apologize for our misunderstanding. Are you all right? I'm so sorry about all the things I said. Would you like to go to dinner? I'll even go by and pick you up wherever it is you live.
Certainly, Mrs. Walker, I accept your apology and thank you for the dinner invitation, but I believe I'll go with Mrs. Walker.
That's all right, Chris. I've got to get some shopping done. I'll go with Miss Shellhammer and see you in the morning.
Shall we go?
Would you excuse me for a moment? I'd like to talk to the elves.
Of course. I'll just go gather my things.
I've been thinking. You know you remember how we used to look for the good in everyone, no matter how bad that person seems to be?
Does everyone include Miss Sawyer?
Sometimes the good in a person is buried so deep, it's difficult to come out. And when it does come out, we lack the ability to recognize it because we blocked our willingness to see it. Miss Sawyer has a very narrow view because she lacks the ability to dream. That means that she can't see anything better than her own limited view.
Is there hope for her?
Of course there is. She did apologize for her angry words. I don't know how sincere she was, but we must encourage her good feelings any way we can.
But what if she wasn't being honest?
That means that the bad at that moment was more than the good.
You shouldn't go with her, Mr. Kringle.
Not so fast. We must be quick to recognize the good intentions in her words. Having said that, even she, deep down, must believe them.
I'm calling the vote of the elves on whether Mr. Kringle should go with Miss Sawyer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Well, I'm in charge of me, so the ayes have it. Now, I'm going to give Miss Sawyer a chance. Besides, it was Mrs. Walker that asked me to go with her. Now, don't worry, I can take care of myself. Now, you elves go back to the store, and I'll see you tomorrow.
If you say so, sir.
But please be careful. I have a bad feeling about this.
So, Miss Sawyer, where shall we go for
Mr. Kringle, we have a few tests for you today. an easy one. How many fingers am I holding up?
3.
Alrighty. Who was the first president of the United States?
Adlai Stevenson the first.
Oh my gosh, okay. Let's get you in a gown. Please have a seat on the bench. Someone will be with you shortly.
How could she have done this? How could she have done this to me?
Doris didn't send you here. She thought Sawyer was taking you out to dinner.
She must have been humouring me. I really thought she was beginning to believe in me.
How did it end up that you went with her to Bellevue?
She tricked me. Sawyer was making small talk while she was looking out the window. Then suddenly she jumped up and said, "Let's go." There was a waiting taxi outside. She put me in between 2 men. One of them said, "Bellevue." Sawyer didn't even come along.
Didn't they give you the usual sanity test that you know by heart?
Of course, the same routine. But I was so crushed that Sawyer did this to me. Not Sawyer. Doris did this to me. That I failed it on purpose, and they committed me.
Doris didn't want you here. She agreed that you and Sawyer would go out to dinner and she would talk to you about seeing a psychiatrist.
Well, I'm relieved to hear that, but why didn't Doris come and tell me that herself?
She didn't want to hurt you, Chris.
No, she did hurt me. I'm just an old man she felt sorry for.
She feels more than that, I'm sure.
No, she had doubts. Otherwise, she would have come. If it was you, she would have been here in a heartbeat.
She certainly had doubts at first, Chris, but she was really beginning to open up and believe. I think her belief was still just too new and too fragile, and Sawyer must have tipped her the other way. Chris, I'm sure she wouldn't want you to be here.
It's not just Doris, it's Sawyer. She's dishonest and I don't want to say the other awful things that come to mind. Yet, she's the normal one. If that's considered sane, I'm going to stay in here with these honest folks.
Nonsense, Chris. You're quite sane and a whole lot saner than most.
Yet, she's out there, I'm in here. I should have listened to the elves. I thought there was some good in that woman I could touch. Now I'm just going to end up in Mount Hope, just like Dr. Pierce said.
Don't be so gloomy. You're not living up to your own philosophy. You can't just think about yourself.
I'm thinking about myself?
You can't give up. What happens to you matters to a whole lot of people. People like me who have faith in you. And people like Susan who are just beginning to learn about faith.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I have been selfish. By golly, I have been. Let's get out of here, Fred.
Hold on, Chris. It's not that easy. There are some legal matters that we have to clear up, and I'm not sure that we can...
You tell me not to be discouraged. Don't you be discouraged. I have faith in you, Fred. I know you can do it.
Really? Then I'll do it. I'll get you out of here.
Good morning. What a beautiful day. And it's been a good year for you too, hasn't it, Your Honor?
Yes, things have gone pretty well. I don't see any reason why that spring election won't just fall on my lap. You know, perhaps I should get Mrs. Harper a more elaborate Christmas present. Maybe that trip to Bermuda.
Ooh, that ought to be real nice. Miss Mara from the Attorney General's office is here to see you, Your Honor.
Oh, good, send her in.
Your Honor,
Morning.
I've just got some routine commitment papers. You should find everything in order. I've checked them out very carefully. And the psychiatric report from Bellevue Hospital is attached here.
Bellevue, eh? Let's see here. Age unknown. An old man, huh?
Oh, yes, Your Honor, very old.
Well, I suppose I should read this whole thing.
Oh, no, that won't be necessary. This is a clear-cut commitment hearing. This Kris Kringle actually believes he's Santa Claus.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Gailey is here to see you, Your Honor.
What does he want?
He said he's representing a person named Kris Kringle.
Santa Claus has a lawyer? Better show him in.
This way, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Fred Healy, and I'm representing Mr. Kringle. I believe you received the papers.
Yes, it just seems to be a matter of signing the commitment forms. That'll get the old man out of harm's way for what's left of his life.
No, if you don't mind, Your Honor, there are indications that Mr. Kringle has been victimized. They're requesting a formal hearing to provide witnesses.
I thought you said this case was clear cut.
It was, as far as I knew. This is the first I've heard of a challenge.
Well, now, Mr. Gately, this psychiatric report, there's a clear diagnosis here, and right here, there was a statement that said in addition to his delusions, he became violent. I'd say that's a pretty good reason for commitment, don't you agree?
That is a misrepresentation, Your Honor. That's why I'm requesting a hearing.
Well, I'm thinking about, court time and expense to the taxpayers.
Your Honor may sign the commitment papers if you so wish, sir. But I must advise you I will submit a writ of habeas corpus.
That won't be necessary. I guess we'll have a competency hearing. Let's see. Next Monday, 10 a.m. Is that all right with you?
Yes, and thank you.
Miss Marta?
Just when I thought I was getting my calendar clear for a Christmas vacation. Yes, Your Honor, I'll work it in.
Well, see you on Monday
All
then.
right. Have a good day, Finley.
Thank you, ma'am. Same to you.
Whom should I speak about the Kringle commitment case?
Oh, the Kringle commitment case has been challenged, Miss,
Sawyer.
yes. His certification of insanity is undeniable. And wouldn't you know that even Bellevue's word isn't good enough?
Oh, I want this dropped right away. Isn't there anything we can do?
I'm sorry. It's already been scheduled for Monday morning.
Oh, public hearings, attorneys. Oh, Miss Macy asked that I get Kris Kringle back, Santa back right away. This is disastrous.
Look, I don't think you have anything to worry about. This kid, Gailey, Kringle's attorney, he's just a young sport trying to get a little publicity for himself.
Publicity? Oh, my job gone. My Christmas bonus gone. I do hope Mrs. Walker can talk to Mr. Gailey. Oh.
Good evening, folks. This is Cindy Stewart on your New York news station, WZYX. Today's top story in New York City is the controversial Sandy hearing of, you're not going to believe this, Kris Kringle, also known as, you guessed it, Santa Claus. It seems that Macy's St. Nick says he is the real Santa Claus, and the state of New York wants to put him away for saying so. This could result in a lot of disappointed children and empty stockings on Christmas morning. We'll keep you informed on what happens to Santa in the New York judicial system as the hearing progresses.
Hello, Henry. How are you?
Hi.
So, Henry, you know, I've been a good friend of yours for years, as well as your political manager. Now, we've been successful in keeping you on this bench now, haven't we?
Of course, Charlie. I appreciate all that you do. You know, I like this seat. I'd like to keep it for a while.
All right. You've got elections coming up this spring, right?
I'm ready. Is there any problem?
Henry, I've been reading the papers. Seriously. Are you going to have Santa Claus in your courtroom?
Is there something you want me to ask him to bring you for Christmas?
No, Henry. I'd like to give you a Christmas present. How about a trip? A vacation? Take Madeline and escape to Bermuda as you've been talking about.
I'd like to, but I just don't have the time. My calendar's full.
No, I mean right away. You look a little run down to me, Henry. You gotta take a few weeks off.
Nonsense. I've never felt better in my life.
Well, then go fishing. Go hiking. Go anywhere.
Why should I?
The Santa Claus case is explosive, Henry. You gotta get out of it somehow.
You know I can't do that. It's all set. It's all been arranged.
You have a sudden illness. Let another judge handle it. Someone who isn't coming up for re-election right away.
Charlie, relax. You know, I'm an honest official. I wouldn't fake an illness. And maybe the Santa Claus case will be good publicity for the campaign.
Good publicity. You become a regular Pontius Pilate before you even start the campaign. You'll be a villain to every little kid who believes in Santa Claus.
They don't vote.
But their parents do. Any father or mother who has to explain to the kid why Santa Claus went to jail is going to hate you.
Not jail, state hospital.
Same thing. Wake up, Henry.
Have you heard about that new place on Fifth Avenue? Oh yeah, I heard they have really good hot chocolate. Oh, good, because I really want to have some chocolate right now. So, did you see this thing about trying Santa Claus for Saturday?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I think the guy's crazy, don't you?
Wait, what was that? I didn't hear about it.
Oh yeah, this guy calls himself Chris Kringle. Gotta be nuts.
Oh, I don't know. Why should there be a real Santa Claus? I think it's a nice idea.
Even if he isn't real, I just hope they don't put the old guy away. I mean, he's no harm to anybody. Let's go get some hot chocolate. They have good hot chocolate.
Hear ye, hear ye. All rise. The New York State Court is now in session. The Honorable Henry X. Harper presiding.
Please be seated. Okay. All right, let's proceed.
Your Honor, as the commitment papers have already been submitted as evidence, the state would like to call its first witness, Mr. Chris Kringle.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Chris Kringle.
And Mr. Kringle, where do you live?
I believe that's what this hearing is going to determine.
Well, very sound answer, Mr. Kringle.
And do you believe that you are Santa Claus?
I certainly do.
State rests its case, Your Honor.
Well, young man, do you want to cross-examine the witness? You know, I believe he was hired to play Santa Claus. Maybe he misunderstood the question.
I understand the question perfectly, Your Honor.
Well, in light of the witness's statement, do you still wish to enter a defense?
I do, Your Honor. I'm fully aware that Mr. Kringle believes himself to be Santa Claus. In fact, that is the entire basis of the case against him.
Well,
The state declares that just because he believes himself to be Santa Claus, he is not saint.
well, that seems a very reasonable and logical premise for that, Mr. Gailey.
It would be, Your Honor, if you or I or Miss Mara here believed that we were Santa Claus.
Anybody who believes their Santa Claus is out of touch with reality. Of course he's insane.
Not necessarily. Your Honor, you believe yourself to be Judge Harper, and no one here questions your sanity because you are Judge Harper.
I know all about myself, young man. Mr. Kringle is the subject of this hearing.
I was only making a point, Your Honor.
And your point is?
I wish to clarify that if a person is who they believe himself to be, just as you are, sir, then he is just a saint.
Of course, but he isn't.
Oh, but he is, Your Honor.
Is what?
I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
This hearing is adjourned until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Actually, I'm rather confident. Publicity is working for us. Public sympathy is behind Chris, and I think we have a good chance.
What about your law firm? How will they react to your taking this case?
Well, old Hayslip, the senior partner, called me in this afternoon. We're an old, established firm with great prestige and dignity, Mr. Gailey. We can't have one of our junior members making a public spectacle of himself. We are not in the business to prove that some old crank is actually Santa Claus. In other words, unless I drop this case, they'll drop me.
So then you'll have to give it up, right?
I can't let a client down, and you wouldn't want me to walk out on Chris, would you?
You really care about your friend, and I respect you for taking this on, but I don't want to see you lose your position.
It's true, I might.
But that would be irresponsible. People have to be realistic. I've certainly learned that. You can't give up your job for some sentimental whim.
It's more than a whim, Doris.
Stop dreaming, Fred.
There's something very beautiful and compelling about that old man, and I won't let him down. I'm a damn good lawyer. Come on, Doris, have faith in me.
I do. But it's more than a question of faith. You're bound to lose this case. That's just common sense.
Doris, faith is believing in something when common sense tells you not to. Your problem is that you've just got too much common sense.
It's a good thing one of us does. It's quite an asset sometimes.
Can't you get over being afraid of letting go and believing in people? People like Chris, and in love and laughter and all other intangibles?
You can't pay the rent with intangibles.
And you can't live without them. At least, I can't. I thought Chris and I had broken through your armor, Doris, and you had been more open-minded and open-hearted. Well, there's no use talking, is there? We don't have a lot of thoughts and feelings in common, do we?
I suppose not.
Then there's nothing more to say.
You know, it's ironic. With all my common sense, I really thought it was going to work out this time.
Me too.
Goodbye, Fred.
As my first witness, I call R.H. Macy.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Are you Miss R.H. Macy, owner of one of the largest department stores in New York City?
Yes, and 51 stores nationwide.
Right. And is Mr. Kringle one of your employees?
Yes,
Do you believe him to be sane?
definitely.
Do you believe him to be truthful?
Ms. Macy, remember you are under oath.
Miss Mara, you will have a chance to cross-examine the witness when Mr. Gailey is finished.
Perhaps I can ask Miss Morris a question for her. Miss Macy, do you believe Mr. Kringle to be Santa Claus?
Yes.
No further questions.
Miss Mara, you may step down.
I want that Sawyer fired.
As my next witness, I call Dr. Pierce.
Dr. Pierce, please take the stand. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Dr. Pierce, you're the resident physician at the Maplewood home, are you not? And you've known Mr. Kringle for many years. Do you believe him to be Santa Claus?
Yes.
I'm sorry, doctor. Could you say that a little bit louder so the whole court can hear you?
Yes, I do.
Dr. Pierce, you are a woman of science, are you not? Have logical, scientific reasons for your
Miss
opinion?
Mara, I want to caution you again. You may question the witness after Mr. Gailey is finished.
Did you express a Christmas wish several weeks ago?
Yes.
What was it?
I asked for an x-ray machine for the Maplewood facility.
And what arrived at Maplewood Home yesterday?
An x-ray machine.
Where did it come from?
The card attached said, "Merry Christmas" from Kris Kringle.
Thank you, Doctor. Your witness?
Dr. Pierce, lots of presents come with cards saying, "From Santa Claus." Do you know of any other possible donors?
No, I do not.
Now, be careful, Dr. Pierce. We are in a court of law, and only tangible facts and logical testimony can be accepted as evidence. Now, would you please tell the court why you feel an expensive machine such as this came from an old man who has only a temporary Christmas job at a department store?
Because he is the only one to whom I spoke about my Christmas wish. In fact, I said, "Chris, if I get this x-ray machine, I'll know you are really Santa Claus." And I did, so I do.
We sit down.
I call Jim Duncan.
This way. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
Are you a zookeeper at the Central Park Zoo?
Yes, I am.
Jim, tell us about Mr. Kringle.
Well, Chris has a wonderful way with the reindeer. It's uncanny. I'm an excellent man myself. Been for years. But I've always had difficulty with them reindeer. The only time I can get near them is when they're restrained. But yet, these same reindeers can walk up to Mr. Kringle and get out of his hand.
This is irrelevant and immaterial. Mr. Gailey is making a circus out of this proceeding. What, does he now plan to have the reindeer testify, for heaven's sake? There's no such person as Santa Claus. Everybody knows it.
Order in the court.
Your Honor, may I ask a smarter question? All the witnesses have testified that not only is there a Santa Claus, but he is sitting in this courtroom. Can you offer any positive proof that there is no Santa Claus?
Well, no, I can't. And I don't intend to try. This is not a nursery, Mr. Gailey. This is a New York State court. And only logical testimony can be accepted. You're making a circus out of this, as I said before, and this is just childish nonsense. Is there or is there not a Santa Claus? I ask His Honor for an immediate ruling.
Will this court take a short recess to determine the matter?
All rise.
Look here, Henry. I don't care what you decide about old Whisker Puss out there. But if you officially rule there's no Santa Claus, well, you might as well just start looking for a chicken ranch somewhere. You won't even make it to the primary.
I took an oath. I'm a sane person, and I'm a responsible official. How can I say there's a Santa Claus, Charlie? If I do, they'll have me derobed, and they'll try me for insanity.
Listen, Henry. Do you know how many millions of dollars worth of toys are produced each year? Toys that wouldn't be sold if it weren't for Santa Claus. Have you ever heard of the National Association of Manufacturers? How do you think they would like your ruling? And how about all the people they employ to make those toys? Union members, Henry. They're gonna love you. And they're gonna say it with votes. Then, there are the department stores and Christmas card artists and candy companies and printers. And what about the Salvation Army? They've got a Santa Claus on every corner. And he's their biggest source of income. I'm telling you, Henry, if you rule that there's no Santa Claus, you can count on getting just 2 votes. Yours, and lawyer Mara's.
1 vote. Mara's a Republican.
All rise.
Be seated, please. The question of Santa Claus is largely a matter of opinion. Many people believe in him, many others do not. The tradition of American justice demands a broad and unprejudiced view of such a controversial matter. This court intends to keep an open mind. Therefore, I will entertain any evidence from either position.
I have some further evidence, Your Honor. I call J. Mara to the stand. Miss Janet Mara. Maybe skip the oath, Your Honor. Hi, Janet. Do you believe in Santa Claus?
Sure I do. He brought me into office last year.
What does he look like?
Sitting right over there.
Objection!
Overruled.
And how do you know that there's actually a Santa Claus?
Because my mom told me so.
And your mom is a truthful person. She wouldn't tell you something that wasn't true.
Of course. My mommy wouldn't tell me something that wasn't so. Would you, Mommy?
Thank you, Janet. You may go.
And don't forget you'll do the power stuff.
You shall have it, Janet.
The state concedes the existence of Santa Claus. Having so conceded, we ask that Mr. Gailey cease presenting personal opinion as evidence. The state could call in hundreds of witnesses, all with different opinions, but it is our intent to shorten this hearing if possible. Therefore, we demand that Mr. Gailey present only authoritative and tangible proof that Mr. Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus.
A point well taken, Miss Mara. I'm afraid I must agree.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm not prepared to present authoritative and tangible proof. May I request an adjournment until tomorrow?
The court stands adjourned until tomorrow afternoon at 3.
Is Mr. Kringle coming over for dinner tonight?
I'm afraid not.
But he hasn't come for so long.
Susan, Mr. Kringle may never be able to come and see us again.
Why not?
Well, because he says he's Santa Claus.
But he has to be Santa Claus. He's just like everything Santa's supposed to be. Nobody could ever be like Mr. Kringle except Santa Claus.
I wish that were true. He's going to be very unhappy if people say he isn't Santa Claus.
Then I want to write him a letter to cheer him up. What's his address, Mother?
I don't know where he's staying, but I know he'd get it if he sent it to the New York State Courthouse, New York State. Let's go home and I'll help you.
All right, which box is the Santa man?
Santa.
All right.
Santa,
Santa.
Santa,
Santa.
Santa,
Santa. Santa.
Regular.
Santa,
Santa.
Santa, Santa.
Santa.
Here's a new one. They write to Santa Claus at, the North Pole, the South Pole, care of the postmaster. But this kid, he writes to Mr. Chris Kringle at the New York State Court. Special delivery, too.
The kid's right, That's where he is. Don't you read the papers?
Sure, read the papers, the stuff I want to read, like the Jets and the Giants out of the playoffs.
They got him on trial down there. This Sprinkle guy. He claims to be Santa. And some gay claims he's nuts.
There's a guy who really might be Santa Claus?
A lot of people think he is.
Well, you ain't very bright today, Lou. This guy, Kringle, could be the solution to our problem.
Gee, why didn't I think of that?
Order up a special big truck, get a bunch of them, bring them up here right away. Get all the Santa mail we got lying around here.
You got it, Al.
All right.
Henry, what's going to Trillium hearing has reached massive proportions. They're writing blazing headlines about it.
Yeah, I read the papers too.
So, what are you going to do? You have to think of your situation.
And my oath to my office.
Today is Christmas Eve. If you send Santa Claus to the house on Christmas Eve, you're likely to be up for a protest demonstration, or assaulted, or even murdered.
Yeah, I know. It's desperate. If that young Gailey can come up with even the slightest competent authority reference, I would willingly and gladly give him every possible break. You know, I've been observing Mr. Kringle, and he appears to be nothing more than a kindly old gentleman. But unless something miraculous happens, I'll have no alternative but to find rule of incompetency and send them away.
Oh, Mother, now that we're here, I'm getting scared. What if Mr. Gailey loses and they send Mr. Kringle away? What if he isn't Santa Claus?
Susan, I probably wasn't right when I told you that. You must have faith in Mr. Gailey. Believe in him.
Then you really think I'll get my Christmas wish?
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. We both have to believe, or we'll never get anything.
I believe, I believe, I believe.
Fred, you're not going to believe this letter I just received. Are you ready? Dear Mr. Kringle, I miss you very much, and I hope I will see you soon. I know it will come out all right. I believe you are Santa Claus, and I hope you are not sad. Yours truly, write this, Susan Walker. And what's this? P.S. I believe in you too. Love, Doris. Susan, come here.
Mr. Kringle, I believe in you.
No matter what this hearing, no matter what happens during this hearing, our efforts haven't been in vain.
I know we'll come our way. I just know it, because I believe.
Fred, you're not going to believe it. Can you believe I got this letter from them?
Hold on to your hat, Chris. You haven't seen nothing yet.
All rise.
Be seated, please. Well, do you have any further evidence to present, Mr. Gailey?
I do, Your Honor. It concerns the Post Office Department of the United States. The Post Office Department was created July 26, 1776 by the Second Continental Congress. The first Postmaster General was Benjamin Franklin. The Post Office Department was discontinued as part of the President's Cabinet in 1971 and converted into its separate agency which operates its own budget.
Mr. Daly, it's very gratifying to know about the United States Postal Service, but I hardly believe it has any bearing on the present case.
Begging your pardon, Miss Mara, it has a great deal of bearing. Your Honor, if I may be allowed to proceed.
By all means.
I can quote endless details from this volume to verify that the Postal Service is an officially run governmental organization. Moreover, it became an official branch of the federal government just 22 days after the Declaration of Independence was signed. According to its regulations, all positions are governed by civil service procedures, promotions are strictly based on merit, and furthermore, postal regulations make it a criminal offense to deliver mail to the wrong party.
The state of New York is second to none in its admiration of the United States Postal Service.
Will the court accept the U.S. Postal Service as a relevant authority in this matter?
The court concedes that the U.S. Postal Service is an authoritative organization.
Then I wish to present 3 pieces of evidence, Your Honor. Let these be marked Exhibits A, B, and C. These are letters written in childish handwriting to Santa, USA, and they were delivered to this courtroom to Mr. Kringle himself. Therefore, I submit that the U.S. Postal Service declares that Mr. Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus.
3 pieces of mail addressed to Santa hardly constitute positive proof. I understand the U.S. Postal Service receives thousands of such letters every single year.
I have further exhibits, Your Honor, but I hesitate to produce them.
Oh, I'm sure we'd all like to see them.
All right, young man, bring them on. Put them right here on the bench.
But, Your Honor.
I said, put them right here.
Very well. All of these letters are addressed to Santa Claus.
All right. All right. Since the United States of America believes this man to be Santa Claus, this court will not dispute it. Case dismissed.
Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice. We're gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town.
This is the best Christmas I've ever had. It was really nice having dinner with Chris and Dr. Pierce.
Now all it needs to make it perfect is snow.
Fred, I've never had a feeling like this before. For the first time, I understand what you mean when you say, faith is believing in things
When common sense tells you not to.
Oh look, it's my house! It's my house!
What does she mean by her house?
I don't know. She's never mentioned anything to me about a house before.
It's a nice looking house. Could be a good real estate investment for somebody.
I suppose so.
Although it's a little big for 2 people. Just the perfect size for 3. Look, Doris, I've loved you for a long time, and I've loved Susan even longer. Now, don't you think it's time we...
Yes, Fred.
Let's get this house for Susan.
For all of us.
And it's got a swing in the backyard, just like my dream, just like my Christmas wish, the one you told Chris about.
Susan, Fred and I have something to tell you.
That you're getting married? I knew that because it was a part of my Christmas wish too.
She's way ahead of us.
And look what I found right beside the fireplace. You're right, Mommy. Chris is Santa.
It couldn't be. It must have been left by the people that moved out, right?
I know I must be a pretty good lawyer. I've legally proved that some little old man is actually Santa Claus. But now, maybe I didn't do such an amazing thing after all.
Mrs. Walker, Mr. Gailey.
We've been trying to catch you since you left the after party.
Hey, where'd you find Santa trying to catch us?
Oh, we just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings.